Hare Krishna. Hello friends, how are you all? I hope you all are good. This is Ritendra Rathod and I am preacher of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, and today I come with very special lecture, and today I am going to make all of you understand what are the similarity between Shrimad Bhagavad Gita and the theory of the Karl Marx. But before I start my lecture, I would like to introduce Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. This is Shrimad Bhagavad Gita as it is written by Sri Bhaktivedanta Srila Mahaprabhupada from ISKCON temple, and this is a most authentic source, and this is a book of science and pure science and humanity, and I am trying to propagate a humanity on basis of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, because while propagating a Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, I am feeling that I am propagating humanity, and I am only propagating Shrimad Bhagavad Gita for society, for people, and try to make people understand about what Lord Krishna said, and try to make people learn how to live a life for moral values and also good character. So from Shrimad Bhagavad Gita we can learn how to live our lives with a moral value and also good character. So in order to build a good character, we have to follow Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. We have to start Shrimad Bhagavad Gita versus Marxism or theory of the Karl Marx, social conflict theory of Karl Marx. The philosophy of the Karl Marx is directly related to Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. Philosophy of Karl Marx, the principle of the Karl Marx, the theory of the Karl Marx is directly related with the Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. Socialism of the Karl Marx is come into existence from Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. Then how does all particular socialism come from Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, come into existence from Shrimad Bhagavad Gita? Let's see similarities. Similarity in between Shrimad Bhagavad Gita and philosophy and socialism of Karl Marx or Marxism. First one, Marx theory of human nature. First we have to talk about Karl Marx theory of human nature. Fundamentally, Marx assumed that human history involves the transforming human nature. Human history involves transforming human nature, which encompasses both human beings and material objects. Humans recognize that they possess both actual and potential selves. Marx acknowledges that Hazel grasps the nature of the work and comprehends the objective of man, authentic because of actual as a result of his own work, and consequently Marx revised Hegelian work into the material, labor into the context of the human capacity to transfer a nature, and the term labor power. What is this labor power? Karl Marx said about labor power and all. The history of the all hitherto existing society in the history of the class struggle. Karl Marx Communist Manifesto. What Lord Krishna said, Karl Marx here said about this theory. What Lord Krishna said here? Lord Krishna stated that the human transformed from the one body to the another body. It is a soul, and which would be changed. Means soul taking experience from the old body and carry forward this particular experience into the new body. So Lord Krishna here said, how would this possible? Lord Krishna mentioned in verse number 22, chapter number 2 of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna here said, Vasansi jirnai yatha vihaya navani granthi naroparani tatha sarirani vihaya jirnaya anyani samyati navani dehi. I must have to repeat because this is one of the most favorite verse of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. Here Lord Krishna said, Vasansi jirnaya yatha vihaya navani granthi naroparani tatha sarirani vihaya jirnaya anyani sanyati navani dehi. Here Lord Krishna said the meaning or the purport of this verse is as a person put on a new garment, and giving up the old and useless one, as similarly the soul accepts the new material body and giving up the old and useless one. So what about Kshetragya? Lord Krishna here said in chapter number 30 about Kshetra and Kshetragya. Kshetra means field, and Kshetragya means the honor of the field. Our soul is the honor of the field, and our body is a Kshetra or field. So here Lord Krishna said, changes of the body by atomic individual soul is accepted fact. Changes of the body by atomic individual soul is accepted fact. Even some of the modern scientists who don't believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time can't explain the soul of energy from the heart, have to accept the continuously change of the body which appear from the childhood to boyhood, and from the boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age, and from the old age the change is transferred to the another body. So this is a body change. And Karl Marx talked about the potential selves, means the potential is only developed from the changes of the body, but from the changes of the soul, from the changes of the means boyhood, means from the child birth to youth, to adult, to the old age, means from the this kind of sequence of the body changes of the body will determine the potential of the cells, potential of the body. So this is the bare fact. And work of the performance of the work is also depend upon the changes of the body. So this is said by Lord Krishna in verse number 22 of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2 of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. Karl Marx social conflict theory, Lord Krishna here means Lord Krishna and this social conflict theory and Shrimad Bhagavad Gita both are directly related with each other. How both are related with each other? Let's see. A Marxist-based social theory which argue that individual and groups, social classes within a society interact on the basis of the conflict rather than the consensus. Through various forms of the conflict, group will tend to attain the differing amount of the material and non-material resources. For example, wealthy versus poor, and more powerful group will tend to use their power in order to retain the power and exploit the groups. So Lord Krishna said about a conflict, means what is the reason behind the conflict. Lord Krishna here said conflict can only be raised when one who is very greedy and working for himself only, means selfishness which lead a conflict means social conflict is a main cause for the social fighting and disunity in the society. The greed for the power, property, woman which make oneself, greed for the power, property, woman which make oneself, and that selfishness lead toward the social conflict. Remember this particular thing very carefully. The greed for the power, property, woman which make oneself, and that selfishness lead toward the social conflict. The expectation and the material desire, which are mainly responsible for the social conflict. Lord Krishna stated in verse number 63-64, chapter number 2 of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. Here Lord Krishna said, Dhyayato Vishyan Punsa Sangha Setu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vinjayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammohat Smriti Vibhrama Smriti Hinsat Buddhi Naso Buddhi Nasat Pranashyati. Lord Krishna here said Sangat means Dhyayato Vishyan Punsa Sangha Setu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vinjayate क्रोधात भवति सम्मोह सम्मोहात स्मृति विभ्रम स्मृति हिंसात बुद्धि नाशो बुद्धि नाशात प्रणश्यति. I would like to speak in Hindi as well as in English because it is very easy to understand. Lord Krishna here said, फल की आशा से कामना प्रकट होती है और कामना का स्वभाव है असंतोष्टि. फल की आशा से कामना प्रकट होती है और कामना का स्वभाव है असंतोष्टि. असंतोष के कारण क्रोध जन्म लेता है, क्रोध के कारण मोह जन्म लेता है और मोह के कारण व्यक्ति आचार और व्यवहार का ज्ञान ही भूल जाता है. आचार और व्यवहार के ज्ञान के जाने से बुद्धि चली जाती है, अनुचित प्रकार के कार्य होने लगते हैं और अंत में ऐसे व्यक्ति का समाज और सोसाइटी शत्रु बन जाते हैं और अंत में ऐसे व्यक्ति का पूर्ण रूप से पतन होता है. सो फल की आशा से ही सब कुछ होता है. तो So Lord Krishna stated about expectation. Lord Krishna emphasized the word expectation. While contemplating the object of the senses, the person develops the attachment to them, and from such attachment, just lust develops, and from the lust, anger arises. From the anger, delusion arises. From the delusion, bewilderment of the memories. When the memory is bewildered, the intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So this is the reason. About the temptation, about the greed for the property, about greed for the woman, about the greed for the other things, the material object. So this is the main reason. Here I must have to say that we all have to read Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, and let's move toward the conclusion. Shrimad Bhagavad Gita is directly related with the human psychology and effect to the treat of people or person who are having a psychological disorder. But nowadays people are considering Shrimad Bhagavad Gita as a book of religions and also spirituality. But Shrimad Bhagavad Gita is neither a spiritual book nor a religious book, but it is a pure book of the science and humanity. And actual Shrimad Bhagavad Gita is a book of psychology, humanity, human physiology or anatomy, brain anatomy, yoga, astrology, physics, chemistry and also zoology. Let's move toward the author opinion. Here I must have to say that we all have to read Shrimad Bhagavad Gita and made our child to read Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, because we would read it, if we would read it, then we can curvature a good character of our son and daughter. Even Lord Krishna emphasized on a good character and moral values, and said that good character and moral value, by good character and moral value, we can easily win over all the human beings. So this is the similarity between Shrimad Bhagavad Gita and the theory of the Karl Marx, or the philosophy of Karl Marx. So thanks for listening me. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. So thanks for listening me. Hare Krishna.